obtain licenses. The bill gives peace of mind to those who say they need their car to earn a living.
If you don't drive, you can't go anywhere. Like, you have to go to school, you have to go to your jobs, you have to go everywhere with a car.
There are those who say this bill is another step toward amnesty, but Jorge Nario Cabrera of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, or CHIRLA, says it's about public safety.
We want to make sure that anyone who's driving our roads has gone through the proper training, has car insurance, and believes in making sure that our roads are safe.
Which for a city of commuters is a must. I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
And the new driver's license law was an added reason to celebrate as people flooded the steps of City Hall to commemorate Mexican Independence Day. Gil Reyes has more from this year's El Grito festivities.
¡Que viva México!
A battle cry and then a bell. City leaders recreate the dramatic greeting signaling the start of Mexico's bloody battle for independence against Spain.
El grito es un grito universal, el sonido de la libertad.
That call to arms is known as El Grito, and it's celebrated every year in the city of Los Angeles with a free outdoor fiesta.
More than 1.2 million Angelinos are of Mexican descent. 1 out of every 4 residents of Los Angeles.
Newly elected city councilman Felipe Fuentes organized the event in a rush, receiving the duty right after taking office in July, with less than a month and a half to plan.
He took the responsibility and the leadership to put this event together and bring it back to City Hall.
We're happy to be back at City Hall.
The celebration returned to the LA Civic Center after previous years at LA Live and Olvera Street. This year's Mexican Independence Day held special meaning following the state legislature's passage of a controversial bill allowing driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants.
A bill that reflects to some extent independence for immigrant motorists in the state of California was passed, and we look forward to its signing soon.
All of us in the city are united in celebrating the cause of freedom, of independence, of self-determination.
Viva Mexico! Viva Los Angeles!
As flags waved proudly at this Mexican-American tradition. At City Hall, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The first El Grito took place in 1810 when Father Miguel Hidalgo urged the people of Dolores, Mexico to take up arms against Spain. While Mexican Americans celebrated El Grito, LA's Central American community held a parade. And as Anna Marcos tells us, the driver's license bill was also the talk of the annual event.
A horse-drawn carriage kicked things off as the 30th annual Central American Federation Parade took to the streets. Every country in the region, from Costa Rica and Panama to El Salvador and Curacao, was in the house. This time around, the country of Honduras took center stage.
Each year, a different country is highlighted, and this year it's Honduras. A great country, a beautiful place with Mayan ruins, with proud people, a place that, has been very close to Los Angeles for many years.
The parade drew immigrants of all types, all colors, and ethnic origins. Many parade goers also celebrating the recent passage of Law AB 40 in the California legislature, which gives a California driver's license to undocumented immigrants.
By allowing folks who aren't here with documentation to get a driver's license, that ensures that they'll get insurance, that we'll know who they are, that they can be safer.
Every Californian will be tested, will have paid their fee, so it's a big victory for all the taxpayers.
But back to the party, because no Central American party is a party without a lot of shimmying and dancing. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
LA's commitment to build a bike path along its namesake river is one step closer to its end goal. Cindy San Luis takes us to Sherman Oaks, where residents are helping to break ground on the latest improvements along that stretch of the river.
Safe work, good work.
work and a great park. Here we go.
Councilmember Tom LaBonge was joined by city officials and San Fernando Valley residents to break ground on the second phase of the Los Angeles Riverfront Greenway project in Sherman Oaks.
The first phase was completed about 4 years ago, and that is between Laurel Canyon and Whitsett.
It's cool to see this area finally, after all these years, getting the attention I think it deserves.
Now when you find this spot here, it will be a solace for you.
The project includes landscaping, irrigation, paving, seating areas, ornamental fencing, a community greenbelt park, and an extension of the Los Angeles River Bike Path. The bike path currently stretches from Griffith Park to the Elysian Valley. This project is an important portion to eventually one day complete the dream of having a bike path from the San Fernando Valley down to Long Beach. Avid cyclist Tom Atkins can't wait for this phase to be completed in about 7 months from now.
I may actually bicycle here. I generally did not up until now. It's a dirt road and not very bicycle friendly. But now let's see what they put in. It'll certainly give me more reason to bicycle here as opposed to just to work.
We know that you already have bike paths and greenways along the river in Studio City. We know that you love them, and we know that you take good care of them.
Piece by piece and inch by inch, the bike path is extending throughout Los Angeles for all to enjoy. From Sherman Oaks, I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
This project will eventually connect to a 102-mile trail system in the nation's second largest urban area. That's according to the LA River Project Bureau of Engineering. And whether it's wanting a bike path in your neighborhood or wanting potholes fixed, new Mayor Eric Garcetti wants to hear about it, and he's not waiting around. In fact, he's knocking on doors and asking, what do you need from City Hall?
Is trash pickup good? Is there a lot of litter or anything like that?
Too busy to make a trip to City Hall? No worries. Mayor Eric Garcetti will come to you.
Yeah. There's a lot of litter. The park functions, every once in a while they have functions on the weekends, and there's a lot of litter.
Garcetti and Councilmember Mike Bonin, together with volunteers, knocked on doors in the Venice community on a Saturday earlier this month to connect residents with city services as well as to hear their concerns.
How long you lived here?
2 months.
Damn, wow, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Where were you before? Washington, D.C.
Oh, well, welcome to L.A.
But before the walk, the mayor and councilmember addressed the large assembly of volunteers gathered at the Oakwood Recreation Center on the importance of this exercise.
It's a pretty simple but very effective way to make sure that Los Angeles isn't run by 1%. And I don't mean that by the wealth 1%, but by 1% of activists, but that 100% of Angelenos feel like this government works for them, listens to them.
What we're saying here today is Los Angeles is open to you. Los Angeles is open to our neighborhood.
And with that, the group headed out, knocking on the doors of homes, apartments, businesses, and churches before meeting back at the rec center for a debriefing to hear residents' feedback.
That it's a great place to be, high quality of life. Flip side was, with that comes other pressures. And I heard at least 2 times folks saying they don't know if they can afford to stay here.
A lot of people are concerned about the trash. There's a lot of renters here.
The neighbors complained basically about the stop sign in this street and a lot of nuisance.
No matter the issue, the mayor and councilmen say they will be taken seriously. As for residents, don't be surprised if the mayor comes knocking at your door. Some middle school kids are also taking the proactive approach to solve a global problem. They're tackling the issue of hunger by starting with changes at their own school. Anna Marcos takes a look.
A tree made of styrofoam trays? Well, more on that later. But one thing is clear. Some students at Thomas Starr King Middle School are on a mission to help Mother Earth cut down on waste. Their project, 37 Degrees from Hunger, packs a double punch as it helps cut food waste at their school and feeds the hungry.
Hopefully this can be a footprint for other schools, because even a kid can make a difference.
Councilmember Tom LaBonge honored the students for their project, which was born out of a class assignment in their Environmental Studies Magnet School program.
But this is so special that the thought comes from the students. Get up here.
I make them look locally in their community within walking distance and try to solve an environmental issue.
The students didn't have far to look. their own school cafeteria.
There's a big food waste in the school, and the trash cans is full of food that's not even opened. So we decided to start a project called 37 Degrees from Hunger.
The students started collecting all the unopened milk cartons, the uneaten fruit and other food items, and donating them to local churches and food banks. They have even bought a huge refrigerator to store the food in.
Especially the milk's important because I get asked every week, do you have milk? And most of the time we don't. So having this resource is really good.
But ecology doesn't just stop here for these students. Last year, they got the LA Unified School District to ban styrofoam lunch trays at all its campuses. This pile here is a sample of just one day's worth of styrofoam trays that this school used in the past.
All the styrofoam that was being used, it was just being thrown away, not recycled properly, because when you walk out, all these kids are just going and right into the trash can. No recycle, no separation.
Now the styrofoam serves as a memorial of sorts and a reminder that kids can make a difference. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The students say they discover that 1 in 6 people in the country often go hungry, and if we wasted just 15% less food, we could feed another 25 million people. How to prevent our top graduates from leaving the region and taking their talents with them, pledging not to text and drive, and lapel cameras on officers' uniforms. These stories and more in City Beat. Mayor Eric Garcetti recently hosted leaders of 9 LA area colleges and universities to discuss how better to retain graduates and also how to improve our economy. The universities represented were UCLA, USC, Loyola Marymount, Los Angeles Community College, Occidental College, Caltech, and the Cal State campuses of Los Angeles, Northridge, and Dominguez Hills.
Our economy cannot prosper if we don't have the universities and institutions of higher learning that are keeping their students here when they graduate, that are keeping ideas here and helping them start in companies that are in this geographical area.
The mayor's office is also working with the universities to promote STEAM programs in LA's middle and high schools. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. 5 years ago on September 12th, 25 train passengers were killed in a collision in Chatsworth after it was believed that the train conductor was texting while operating the train. Council members Mitchell Englander and Mike Bonin have joined AT&T in launching the It Can Wait campaign, encouraging members of the public not to text and drive.
And much like drunk driving, texting takes an average of 4.6 seconds on average off the road, your eyes off the road.
I'm not saying don't text or don't read your emails while you're on your way to work. Just go Metro.
Each year, over 1.5 million accidents involve a distracted driver. Yet studies show that 50% of people behind the wheel are still texting. Councilmember Mitchell Englander, who is chair of the Public Safety Committee, is asking the council to direct the Los Angeles Police Department in field testing lapel cameras to be worn on police uniforms. While in-car cameras continue to be used by the LAPD, not all officers patrol in a vehicle. That's why Englander is asking for members of various LAPD units, such as SWAT and K-9 units, to field test body cameras, which Englander says could ensure officer safety and resolve potentially controversial encounters. Councilmember Gil Cedillo has introduced a motion in City Council for a report that will look into the installation of street signage or other appropriate markers, as well as possible sites for emergency call boxes along the LA River. This was in response to community concerns regarding the safety of the path that is used for biking, walking, and jogging. A member of the Alliance of River Communities first raised the issue of safety along the river during the council's Arts, Parks, Health, Aging, and River Committee meeting. Over 24 young cancer survivors were recently treated to an afternoon they won't soon forget. As Anita Bennett reports, they got to rub shoulders with Hollywood stars and become honorary LAPD officers.
The Sunshine Kids got a hero's welcome from the LAPD and the police department band.
It's just crazy. It's just a good experience.
Nick Serrano and 26 other young people struggling with cancer became honorary police officers for a day during a special ceremony at the Universal City Sheraton.
And now I will faithfully discharge the duties.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties.
The teens, some from as far away as Connecticut and Florida, then climbed into police cruisers and took a ride across town. And the Sunshine Kids were brought here to Raleigh Studios in Hollywood, where they were given the red carpet treatment and they got to mingle with some stars.
It's exciting because not much people get to see famous people from where I'm at.
Among the famous faces, veteran actor G.W. Bailey from the TV series Major Crimes and Los Angeles Police Chief Charlie Beck.
These are some very heroic young men and women that are going through a very tough time, and it's important for us to recognize that and to try to get them, you know, a little interest and a little acknowledgement in their day.
We give them memories. They'll leave here with all kinds of fantastic memories of people they met, places they saw.
The students say their week-long visit to L.A. is something they'll never forget.
It's changed me in a little way. It's told me like that there's still good people in the world that want to help you and don't judge you for your flaws and just go with you.
Hopefully next year I can have the chance to volunteer, help, and actually return the favor that they gave to me.
Overall, it was an experience that brought a little sunshine to these kids' lives. In Hollywood, I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
The Sunshine Kids Foundation and private donors paid for the students' visit to LA. In this week's list of things to do, a drum festival followed by a jazz festival and also retail therapy. The City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs and Friends of Watts Towers Arts Center present the 32nd annual Watts Towers Day of the Drum Festival on Saturday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. In celebration of the Watts Towers Arts Center's first 52 years, the festival's lineup will take the audience into a musical journey around the world with the synthesis of pre-Columbian and contemporary music and dance in the ancient Mexica tradition. The program also includes a Southern Italian percussionist, as well as Japanese taiko music. It takes place at the Watts Towers Arts Center campus, which is located at 1727 East 107th Street. And the very next day, on Sunday, September 29th, also at the Watts Towers Arts Center campus, will be the 37th annual Simon Rodia Watts Towers Jazz Festival from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday's celebration will feature traditional jazz, performances with a fusion of jazz and Afro-Cuban flavors, as well as a classic and spoken word teen troupe. The festival's activities and programs also include the arts exhibition Through the Eyes of Charles Dixon, guided tours of the Watts Towers, children's activities, and food for sale, along with arts and crafts. For more information on both festivals, go to wattstowers.org. Who says shopping has to be done in a mall or at the department store? The Port of Los Angeles invites you to the Keep on Truckin' Bonanza taking place on Saturday, September 28th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. The fun, family-friendly festival will feature retail trucks parked on the Port's lot at the Port's Craft Marketplace, located at 110 East 22nd Street in San Pedro. The first retail truck bonanza received such a great reception that the Port couldn't resist having one more before summer ends. Parking and admission are free. There will also be a raffle to win tickets to the new Cirque du Soleil traveling show, Totem, at the Port. Go to craftedportla.com for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. And that traveling Cirque du Soleil show at the Port? Well, Yana Kay gives us a sneak peek of this highly anticipated attraction that hopes to bring even more locals and tourists to our city's harbor district.
Cirque du Soleil dancer Eric Hernandez is performing a traditional Native American hoop dance. It's part of the new Cirque du Soleil show coming to San Pedro in October.
The dance tells a story. It tells a story of the different plants and animals that the Native Americans saw. And it also ties in with the evolution theme of the show.
The new Cirque du Soleil show is called Totem, and it's coming to the Port of Los Angeles for the first time as part of a traveling show. Cirque officials say they hope to have a positive impact on the community by boosting businesses and tourism, and they're counting on Totem's depiction of the incredible journey of mankind to draw big crowds.
When you walk into that big top and it's sort of a transition into this fantasy world, and you sit down and then you smell the popcorn and that sort of thing, it really, puts you in a different place. And for the next, 2 hours, you get to forget everything else and just be awe-inspired.
Totem will be at the port for a 1-month run, and local officials couldn't be more proud that San Pedro will be taking center stage.
I love this community, and just that we can actually open up to the rest of Los Angeles and welcome them in and have something that is identifiable for them, which is Cirque. So it's a known entity. They know what it is, and that's a reason for them to come down here and revisit the community.
Now, local restaurants here in downtown San Pedro will be offering discounts for folks with show tickets. Totem's opening night is October 11th. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Totem premiered in 2010 and features more than 50 dancers and acrobats. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Having the foresight to plan for my business,
to plan for my future, to plan for my family provides a peace of mind.
Having the foresight to sign up for Alert LA County
gives me that peace of mind when an incident happens close to my home or near my park.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email. Events may include disasters, evacuations, and safety notices. Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
Alert LA County.
Knowing when you need it most.
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carres, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Felipe Fuentes moves, Bonin seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Price moves, O'Farrell seconds. Next. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now would be the time for the flag salute.
Okay, if everybody could please rise, we will be led in the salute by Ms. Martinez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Let's quickly run through the agenda.
Mr. President, first there's a request by members to continue item 11 to September 27th, item 12 to October 8th, item 15 to October 1st, and item 16 to October 4th.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order.
Items 1 through 5 are items noticed for public hearing.
Okay, do we have any cards?
Cards on items 1 and 2.
Okay, members special, so we'll hold those two items. Okay, let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, next.
Items 6 through 37 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Specials, members, specials. Mr. Labange.
Item 18, please. Thank you.
18 for Mr. Labange. Any other specials? Let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And Mr. President, the ordinances will be held over for 1 week if not reconsidered.
No, you know what, Mr. I thought I just saw that's 11 then. Okay, because we've been joined by Mr. Park, so we need one more, right?
Yes.
Okay. It may not happen. All right. Let's go to the next section.
Items 38 through 44 are items for which the public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us. You have cards?
Cards on items 38, 40, 41, 43, and 44.
Okay, let's hold those items. Members specials. Members specials. Okay, let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Mr. President, that brings council to presentations or items called special.
Okay, I'd like to turn the floor over to Mr. O'Farrell if you're ready at this time. So, Mr. O'Farrell, you have the floor.
Good morning, colleagues. I would like, representing the Consul General of Armenia, Mr. Yahya Mansourian and Surin Vardians, to please join me here at the podium. Please step this way. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Colleagues, I am honored today to join my fellow council members in celebrating Armenian Independence Day. And I know that if our colleague Paul Krikorian were here of Armenian descent, he would surely join me in celebration of the day, which occurred a couple of days ago. September 21st marked the 22nd anniversary of Armenia's independence from Soviet rule. Armenia is among the world's oldest continuous countries and the oldest Christian nation in the world, having adopted Christianity in 301 AD. The city of Los Angeles is home to the largest Armenian population in the U.S. and the second largest diaspora in the world after the city of Moscow. Council District 13 includes the officially designated Little Armenia in the Armenian diaspora, home to hundreds of Armenian-owned businesses, numerous churches, schools, cultural centers, and a vibrant community of tens of thousands of Armenians. The City of Los Angeles greatly values its Armenian community, which has enriched our city in every field and area imaginable, and have actively contributed to the growth and prosperity of my great council district and our great city. Several years ago, my predecessor traveled to Yerevan, and that is Mayor Garcetti when he was council member, and established our sister city relationship, which strengthened our ties with the Armenian community as never before. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, I celebrate Armenian independence from Soviet rule. And as I said, joining us today, we have Mr. Yehia Mansourian and Mr. Suren Vardanyans, both representing the Consul General of Armenia, and Mr. Mansourian is going to say a few words.
You know, let's show our respect for the independence. Let's give them a... You deserve that and more respect to the country. Yes, sir.
Honorable Council members, I would like to express my gratitude to the Los Angeles City Council for this sign of friendship and for their commitment to further develop Armenian-American relations and maintain the firm bonds between our two nations. Armenia greatly values its relations with the United States of America, and we appreciate the mutually beneficial cooperation between our countries. Moreover, Los Angeles is a sister city of Yerevan, and this last visit of the Los Angeles Council members to Armenia was yet another proof that the close ties between our cities will continue to grow and strengthen our mutual benefit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And gentlemen, on behalf of the entire elected body of the City of Los Angeles, including Mayor Eric Garcetti, we would like to present you this certificate of recognition on this 22nd anniversary of independence.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you very much. You got it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move on and do some items that were on the agenda. What would be the first item?
Item 1, call special for cards.
Okay, on item 1, I have Sean. And Sean, you don't have your last name this time. I have Mr. Herman and John Walsh. If you please come forward. But Sean, I think everybody knows who you are anyway, okay?
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Item 1 is a good item. I support it.
Mr. Herman or Mr. Walsh, keep coming. Keep coming, John. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org, or at J. Walsh Confidential. This is the public hearing. This is a protest to building and safety and a report of a lien for nuisance abatement. We are, of course, as you know, if you do a good job, I praise you. If you do a horrible job, I attack you. HollywoodHighlands.org is very happy with your nuisance abatement, and we hope that it works. And come to our website. Stay tuned for public comment. John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman, please come forward.
Good morning.
For the city that silences a critic will injure itself as much as it injures the critic. For the gadfly's task is to stir into life, rouse, persuade,
Mr. President,
and bring
he is not
reproach.
talking about this item.
When we talk about
Please, Mr.
building
Hurley.
and safety, well, there always has to be a way of catching attention, right? City Attorney, come on, Dion. When it comes to building and safety, in the past, they would bring liens, they would bring violations of their own ordinance that didn't make sense whatsoever, and bring it upon the persons that they're basically attacking. Last week we heard of a woman who said, "Why have you placed this lien on my home? All I'm trying to do is pay it." But yet building and safety restricts itself from answering the question, why do you enforce such harsh liens on the public at a time when the city alone stands within a negative budget? Because if there is such a budget that exists to make Los Angeles a better city to grow and live in, then think of this of the liens that the city attorney has prosecuted on people within the Department of Building and Safety. How many years will you continue to enforce your impermissible action towards the public? Again, impermissible, illegal action. Big deal, you have Christmas lights up. Big deal, you have excessive foliage. Give them due process,
Mr. President, he is
sir.
not talking about this lien.
Mr. Koretz.
That was the same point I was going to make.
Okay,
and I'd say in general, we let a lot of folks get by with a lot of extra public comment because they'll talk about liens, but it'll have nothing to do with the purpose of the item.
Okay.
Or I think we really need to actually hold people to the item that they're talking about and not let them grasp at straws just to be heard for an extra 2 minutes.
And you're right, Mr. Koretz. So those of you that want to speak, when you get off the topic, you will forfeit your right to speak on that subject. That's a warning. And Mr. Koretz, the city attorney and I will be more vigilant. Okay? All right. The next item.
Mr. President.
Let's vote on this.
Oh, no. For this item, Mr. President, the department reports that this item may be received and filed, and as much as the lien has been paid.
Okay. Then without objection, we will receive and file. So is there any more items to vote on, or is that it?
That's it for that item.
Okay, let's move on to what's the next item?
Item 2, call special for cards.
Okay, if I could have Nick Pavich, please come forward, and I apologize if I did not pronounce your name correctly. So, Nick, please come forward.
Yeah, my name is Nick Pavich, and I represent the Indian Ridge LLC and LMW 78 LLC. Basically, the property, Department of Water and Power want to take the property for a safety issue, and I feel there's a simple way to correct the problem by just putting a concrete bridge over top of the aqueduct where the driveways are. And I've given a piece of map of the property. Right now we have 7 tenants on the property. It's generating about $12,000 a month. They have long-term leases, and now the DWP wants to take it away. And for it's supposed to be for private use. It's going to eliminate the private use and go to public use, which is going to be worthless. Basically, there's not going to be any sales tax collected, property tax collected, and I think there should be a way to work it out with the department and just leave the tenants where they are. And basically, all they need is one parcel, which is number 6. The last number is 6, and that's their where they can get to the aqueduct, service it. But the other 5 parcels is useless and to them, because the aqueduct is anywhere from is 50 feet deep under the driveways. And right now I'm basically putting an objection to this approval of this, what their request is. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, no speakers on the queue. Let's prepare to vote. Madam Clerk, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, the next item.
And for the record, that item will be held over for 1 week.
Okay. Can we go to the next item?
Next item is item 38, call special for cards.
38?
Yes.
All righty. Okay, I have one card on 38, and that is Mr. John Walsh. John, please come forward.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns valet parking operators. Now, you have spent, what, 2 years preparing this ordinance? At least 2 years. You've gone through 2 mayors. What this means, people, Hollywood has the largest number per square mile of stolen cars. There are people who dress up like valet parkers, parking valets. They buy the uniform, they walk over there, they stand there, people hand them their keys. This has happened. This is not an urban legend. Now, there is absolutely we don't know. They could be criminals, they could be rapists, they could have records. They get hired, and incidentally, it's racist. Only Hispanics are hired as valet operators. If your skin is black, you will not be hired in the city of Los Angeles as a valet operator. Produce one black person, and believe me, they make a lot of money. I see them in my neighborhood running around, going to meters in my neighborhood 3 blocks away. Now, the most important thing here is the bagging. This is right here. In other words, if I am an owner of a club, I can get the authorities, the city authorities, to bag the meters. That means that only my customers can use the meters. And then the valets ask for $10 or $15 for the meters in front of the clubs. This is happening. You don't hear anybody correcting me and say, "Oh, Mr. Walsh, that's never happens. We have a wonderful bagging." Anybody who lives near a nightclub, check out the bags. Now, there used to be more bags. Since I started this issue, there's fewer and fewer bagged parking meters. HollywoodHighlands.org for the truth.
Okay, thank you. On the queue, I have Mr. Labange, followed by Mitchell Englander.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You never win with John Bagman Walsh, so I didn't want to challenge him. And John, you made some good points that are there. This will happen with the authority of the police department, where there'll be vigorous enforcement that hasn't been attached in the future. It will be attached, and it will make a difference. People have abused the system of valet in our city at restaurants and nightclubs, and this will be corrected by the oversight of the police commission. Additionally, members, we've tragically lost some people recently, a hit and run on Ventura Boulevard. In the rules that the police commission is going to administer will be that the valets at night have to wear a reflective vest on the street. And as you know, a street like Ventura Boulevard, which I'm proud to represent parts of the San Fernando Valley, Sean Murphy, those nightclubs you go to out there on Ventura Boulevard, you will have those valets will have a vest on, so the vehicles will see them in a more attainable way. So, Mitch, I know it took a long time, but your background, certainly as a reserve officer, will help as you've crafted this, and I ask for an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Mr. Englander.
Thank you very much. This has been a long process, and I also want to thank our mayor for working on this and initiating this action as well when he was on the council. With this, I just need to make a motion and get a second, Mr. Labange, to substitute the previous ordinance. We had some technical changes. That's what we're voting on today, is those minor technical changes. And so, you know, colleagues, the technical change was one specific one on the hotel operators and owners when they're in construction, finding off-site parking, and giving them some allowances to do that. Those technical corrections have been made. Thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay.
And that ordinance will be held over for 1 week for second reading.
Okay. Madam Clerk, where do you suggest we go next?
Item 18, called special by Councilmember Labange.
Mr. President, is Mr. Buscaino here tomorrow?
Mr. Labange?
Is Mr. Buscaino here tomorrow?
Yes.
Could I continue this one day? This is a port relationship with our sister city of Jakarta.
Without objection,
Thank you.
That'll be the order. Ms. Martinez, would you be ready to move forward?
Yes.
Then the floor is yours. Members, let's pay attention. We have a very important presentation.
Good morning. Colleagues, today I'm asking that you all join me in recognizing Latino Heritage Month. As you all are aware, every year Latino Heritage Month is recognized from September 15th through October 15th. We kicked off the celebration last week at El Grito, which commemorates the beginning of Mexico's fight for independence. And next month, we'll be gathering again to recognize the hard work and contributions of Latinas in your districts at our Latino Heritage Month breakfast reception. Hispanic Heritage Week was approved by President Lyndon Johnson in 1968, and the length of it was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period. As you may be aware, this month notes the Independence Day of 8 Latin American countries. In addition, this month recognizes and celebrates the long and important presence of Latinos in North America. This presence has been felt in our city for hundreds of years. Today, people from around the world make Los Angeles their home. Our city is made up of many diverse and distinct neighborhoods. It is this diversity that makes Los Angeles such a wonderful city and one where we celebrate our many cultures. And this month, we celebrate and recognize the rich cultures and traditions of Latinos. Today, I have Department of Cultural Affairs Executive Director Olga Garay English here with me, as well as local artist Yolanda Gonzalez. The Department of Cultural Affairs has been instrumental in developing the calendar and the cultural guides for 2013. Thank you to the Cultural Affairs Department, Executive Director Olga Garay English, and her staff for creating such a beautiful guide. With these calendars, our department highlights the work of our artists who keep and share Latino traditions alive and thriving in our communities. Colleagues, calendars have been placed on your desk for your review. Take a look at them. There are several great events planned throughout the city over the next month, many in your districts. Copies of these guides will be delivered to each of your offices so that you can share them with your constituents. In addition, I would like to recognize Yolanda Gonzalez, who is one of the featured artists on this year's calendar and guide. Her work denotes the multi-generational family that is at the very heart of the Latino community. Ms. Gonzalez trained in the Pasadena Arts Center College of Design and at Self-Help Graphics. Ms. Gonzalez came from a family of artists whose artistic heritage dates back to 1877. Her father, brother, and several adult relatives and her younger niece are all artists. Her work is known for her strong, bold brushstrokes of color and texture, intent of invoking imagination and emotion. Over the years, she has exhibited her work in solo and group exhibitions across the United States, throughout Europe, and in South Africa. Throughout the years, Ms. Gonzalez has taught in the Inner City Arts, Para los Niños, Plaza de la Raza, Crenshaw Christian Center, and MOCA. Today, I want to recognize Ms. Yolanda Gonzalez, who can't be here this morning with us, but I'd like to acknowledge her work and recognize her for her work in this year's Latino Heritage Month. I also want to recognize additional artists who are featured in this year's calendar and guide, and they're with us today. Victor Aleman. Thank you very much,
All right,
sir.
let's give Vic, thank you.
We also have Angela Maria Ortiz. Please stand.
Please stand up.
Please
Come
stand.
on, so we can see who you are.
And Anselmo Ortiz, who's with us here. I believe you guys are brother and sister.
Okay.
And lastly, I would like to thank the sponsors of the Latino Heritage Month for their generous contributions to this year's celebration. With us today, we have from ABC 7, Teresa Samaniego.
All right.
Please stand.
And go
from AT&T, we have Lupita Sanchez Cornejo.
Hi, Lupita.
Also, Fox, Audience Strategy, Nielsen, the Walt Disney Company, Time Warner Cable, Toyota and Toyota Financial Services, and Wells Fargo. I'd like to ask Olga Garay English to please share a few words with us.
Thank you.
All right, Olga. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us here. We're just so pleased that once again our department has been able to work with the City Council and the Mayor's Office on this august month-long celebration of Latino heritage. And thank you, Nudi, for doing the honors today. I wanted to remind people that in addition to the calendar that you have in front of you, you can also access all of the festivities, all of the celebrations that will be taking place throughout the city in the coming month through our website, www.culturela.org. And you can also access it at laheritagemonth.org. So we're trying to get into the 21st century. So this is going to be available to people on their apps and smartphones. And so we are just thrilled to have some of our participating artists with us. And again, thank you for helping us to share this with the community. And please come to some of the events. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
Just wanted to rise, Mr. President, and thank you, Olga Rai, for the great job that you've always done and continue to do, but to also thank the sponsors, ABC 7. Teresa, you're absolutely everywhere, and Lapita, the wonderful job that you do for AT&T, which is so key, and all the sponsors that are there, and the proud graduates of Belmont High School right there, brother and sister. Go Sentinels. Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Mr. President, would you join us in unveiling the artwork? Mr. President, would you like to join us?
Oh, that'd be my pleasure, Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much.
Can he get the camera going there? Let's have everybody around the poster. And let's hold for Patrick from Channel 35. Hold on a second, Mr. President. Just a second so Patrick can get there. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful poster. Item 40, please. Item 40. Special by Mr. Walsh. Pass. Thank you. Item 40. No other cards on item 40? So let's, no speakers in the queue. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
So ordered. Item 41, special by cards. John Walsh. Followed by Donna Perlman.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, now powered by 4G. This is number 41. This is homebuyer assistant grant funds. This is passed through from the California House Department of Housing and Community Development. It's $1.5 million. It's not enough, but again, I'm glad that some money is going for first-time home buyers, since most first-time home buyers have had their homes taken away from them by this recent downturn. By the banks, I should say, by the greedy banks. So in any case, the $1.5 million is a good step in the right direction, the Cal Home Program. John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Donna Perlman, please.
Is it Lubongi for you? It's Perriman. And I
did that for you. Thank you. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sure. I like to say that, number one, I'm not sure that these $1.5 million, when they give out these loans, are these going to make sure that these are given out loans where people will be able to pay for them. A lot of times they set off and they buy these loans that look like they start off low in the beginning, and then they go way up high, and then these people end up losing their homes, and then they end up feeling like a failure and a loser for losing their first home. So we want to make sure that this is not the case of these loans giving out to people who they think should be able to pay but are not able. And I don't see why you can't do it for people who give some type of loan, better loans for people who have their homes, who have been there for a long period of time, that might need more help. So I think we should be able to expand and see for people who have second and third mortgages to help them out, and not just to only help out the first-time homeowners. But as I said, make sure, and then I should be in Van Nuys video conferencing, by the way. So anyway, let's make these good loans, not lousy loans, and let's make sure these people don't lose their homes.
Thank you, Donna Perriman. Thank you, Donna. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Item 43, call special for cards.
Mr. Walsh, Mr. Herman.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. New post up since last night. This, everybody's quiet. No one's paying attention. This concerns rewards. This extends a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the murderer of Amado Lozano. Now, you notice many of these rewards are for drunk drivers. They don't even have name, in other words, for victims of drunk drivers. We have asked, and the City Council, when Mr. Zine was here, for a report. Mr. Zine asked for a report. We want to know how many rewards have been offered, how much is standing, and how much has been collected. And nobody gives a damn except when the victims are standing here. HollywoodHighlands.org, the victim's family.
Mr. Herman.
I believe Mr. Walsh is correct. When it comes to the consideration of someone's life, all we could do is put a price tag. But let's put an audit, an investigation into how the city of Los Angeles comes up with these figures, these amounts, to give out, like if it's giving out a permit to a liquor license or permit to a marijuana outfit. Again, Mr. Englander is too busy speaking while I'm speaking, and it interrupts me from concentrating on my point. And my point is this: we, the public, demand an audit on how and where the funding is coming from. Is it from the general fund, or is it from a special fund? Because if so, I believe, if I'm correct, the public has a right to know, where do you come out with these figures? And think of the impact of the result of the lives that you're destroying in our streets. Already, how many incidents of people have been injured, not just by violence, but the problem of being hit and run on our streets in Los Angeles.
Okay, no speakers on the queue. For the public's awareness here, it's on a recommendation of detectives of the Los Angeles Police Department on these issues here, and we care for everybody, regardless of what was just spoken. Thank you very much. No speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
44, please.
Item 44, call special for cards.
Mr. Walsh, you're out of time, so relax back there. Mr. Herman.
In the nature of this, to adopt the city engineer reports, I find it that I am against this proposal. Why? Because I'm against it because it does not address the multitude of problems associated with unregulated engineering reports. A good example is the corridor of Soto between Zono and Marengo. Good example of bad engineering. Hold my time.
That completes the comment from the public. No speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
11 ayes. Next item.
Mr. President, that takes council to general public comment.
From Van Nuys, California, Donna Pearman.
Thank you. Anyway, I wanted to, let's see, when you silence a voice, you not only hurt the speaker when you silence voices, you hurt yourself and knowledge and wisdom lost. Please, Nuri Martinez, we need to talk to about Van Nuys Neighborhood Council. We need chairs and a place to for committee meetings, and I want to speak to Nuri's aide after the meeting. Goes to show you, the city council doesn't care about the San Fernando Valley, Harbor, or anywhere other than downtown, even council members in the valley. We need to have Van Nuys and San Pedro open for video conferencing. Miriam couldn't make it a 2-hour trek at the bus stop, not at home, then to walk to City Hall, then to talk from, and 3 hours back home to talk for 2 to 7 minutes. And actually, only that when you get interrupted and have the numbers being taken away. Because I wanted to speak on number 15, but they took that away because I believe that's, I wanted to speak at the large positions at neighborhood stakeholders for run and vote for on the neighborhood council. I think we need to have that because some people have been going to the neighborhood councils for a long time and they should have to be able to have that large positions. Anyway, Miriam had important, back to the thing, Miriam had important things to say, but safety to say, but she couldn't get here. And I have to spend it trying to get the ability to speak in Van Nuys. I should be in Van Nuys video conferences. The bus for the handicapped accessible. Another wheelchair passed up on the Orange Line today. A young girl who needed to get the Kaiser for treatment. I saw in the paper that people are committing suicide on the Blue Line, so it doesn't make it safe for people commuting. I need to be in Van Nuys. There's no reason for it. Bloomfield, help us.
All right, from North Hollywood, California, Sean Murphy.
St. Charles.
And before you speak there, Sean, 30, 35, and 37, Madam Clerk, forthwith. Thank you.
Yes, good morning. We need our streets to be fixed and repaved. Our crosswalk is fading away at St. Charles on the corner of Lancashire and Moore Park. It needs to be repainted. Also, we need another crosswalk while the big church is being renovated. I don't know if you heard this, but Dr. Paul Simonovich is in the hospital for a serious virus, Tom. He's at St. Joe's Promenade. You can find out from St. Charles about his condition. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. See me at the ropes afterwards for those specifics. John Walsh from Hollywood, California.
HollywoodHighlands.org. Always a pleasure to speak in front of Councilman LaBonge. I know this sounds insane, but go to my website. You know, I put up something preposterous for a joke called Votar. You can see it. Votar is the demon that rules City Council. Now go to Mayor Sam and the rest of the media. Weezer claims that one of his field offices is possessed by the devil. It's in the media. He went to the LAPD. The LAPD apparently has someone in charge of exorcism. The name is in the article. Go to Mayor Sam. And they went over, and you, the taxpayers, paid to have Weezer's office exorcised. Now, if anything I say is not true, get up now and say John Walsh is a psychotic liar. Everything I said is true. Now, we had a wonderful day with yesterday on Hollywood Boulevard. Thank you for making it possible that we could have one of the Beatles there to give an hour, full hour. However, crime is still out of control. They got rid of Gurmala. They have brought in Verone, Chief Verone. We think he'll do a good job. Now, go to my website. I am doing a story on the Holocaust survivor, Leon Preport, who was killed in right here downtown by Angel's Flight. Angel's Flight at 10 miles an hour crushed him and his wife. You're in charge of it, not MTA. Why isn't the head of Angel's Flight here to answer the questions? Now, nobody here wants to support the plaque honoring Leon Preport so far. You'll hear a lot about this all over the world. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Olga Hall from Highland Park.
Good morning. Today again, I will call on Kamala Harris, Attorney General, to ask her, who does she work for, the community or the Autry? Why she keeps ignoring the request of the community to investigate the Autry? Is the law of this land to be ignored when it serves the interests of the Autry Museum? Mayor Garcetti, when asked what he was going to do about the Southwest Museum, he answered he could do nothing for it because the merger was between two private institutions. If it's so private, why is the city letting the Autry use Griffith Park, public land, for $1 a year? When Autry should have been paying at least $500,000 a year for the rental for the last 25 years. That's a loss for the city of $12 million. And let us not forget that this body voted in favor of the Autry to use more than $6 million of taxpayers' money. Why, if it's so private, this council chooses to intervene only when it benefits the Autry, who is a private institution? You all act if you care for this city, but if you allow the Autry to destroy the Southwest Museum, it will be a shame for all of you as council members. For the Mayor Garcetti and Kamala Harris, there is no excuse to lose the Southwest Museum.
Thank you, Ms.
And the Autry stole the collection. Whether you like to see the truth or not, it is the truth.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. From Boyle Heights, Mr. Herman.
Can we get our time corrected? If not, the city of Los Angeles has made a significant burden on people with disability. Why? Because it hinders our action of free speech when our cards are deferred, when our cards are misplaced, or when we speak to, like, for example, Jose Huizar, who's not here. You see, there are many important points we have to speak about. And sometimes we have to address not the body, but specific people, for example, with sexual harassment. But that's a different topic of my public comment. Today, I speak about reasonable restrictions on the use of a speaker, because we as speakers should not be restricted just because we indulge in particular white wings, left wings, and whatever wing you guys want us to be a part of. We are not. We are specifically here for our constituents, and we should serve our constituents apathetically, and more so with morale that does not hinder us. Clearly, my code of conduct is prescribed clearly not unacceptable of my ideas, but rather, what am I protected by? First Amendment rights to speak. And so far, the City of Los Angeles has restricted me by what I mentioned earlier. And I hold you accountable for that, because people with disability have a right to be heard, whether you like it or not. And whether you want to speak above us or below us or at us and indirectly push it to the side, I brought this complaint to my congressman, Javier Becerra, who will investigate a federal reason why you continue to violate the rights of people with disability here in council chambers. Thank you.
That completes public comment. We want to check with the city attorney. Could you read out loud section 457891 on the municipal code to see if that has any reflection in today's events?
I'm not familiar with that code section, Mr.
All right,
President.
we'll work on that as well. Right there. Okay, has the special one been circulated, Mr. CLA? Is this the special one right here? With the fine councilman or the... Members, we do have a special one that is in the process through the Chief Legislative Analyst's Office to be circulated. And at that time, then I will call on Mr. Fuentes after I call on the city attorney to read what is before us. As we await that, I do want to let you know it's UCLA Day in the community, and today over up to 5,000 UCLA students before their semester started are at various locations throughout the city, over 500 in Griffith Park. We were at the historic merry-go-round this morning as we kicked it off. UCLA, a great institution. We're fortunate to have two great institutions in the city of Los Angeles, with the University of Southern California as well as the University of California at Los Angeles. So that was a big day of the community. Avak, we're looking at you, Avak. Have we haven't circulated yet?
What's that?
Okay, on special one, Mr. Walsh, did you get a copy of the motion? After it's circulated, make sure Mr. Walsh, because he has a comment. I want to make sure you have that card filled out. Thank you, Sergeants.
Do you have a copy of it?
Mr. City Attorney, we have a special one. Could you read into the record on this issue?
I don't believe it's been circulated yet, though, for the council members to have in front of them.
All right, it's coming right now from the desk. Here it comes right now. Thank you very much. All right, Avak, you did it. Finally, it's been circulated. Mr. City Attorney.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of today's agenda at a homeless services fair, city staff learned of an increased incidence of homeless encampments in the Tujunga Wash. Immediate action is required to request city departments and the city attorney's office to draft an ordinance prohibiting such encampments from the wash. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Mr. Fuentes, let's hold on for the findings now. Madam Clerk, let's open the roll on the findings now, just the findings. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
We have the findings. Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues, for entertaining special motion number 1. Yesterday, we had a homeless resource event in Sunland, Tahunga area, and we were able to hopefully accommodate many of the people that needed support. But in doing so, we determined that there is a tremendous need to follow what's being asked here in this motion to do the proper postings of the Los Angeles Municipal Code in the Tahunga Wash, as we have determined that there is a tremendous need to begin the clearance of that wash. So we're trying a very two-tiered approach here by making sure that we're doing the outreach necessary to facilitate service delivery to this very vulnerable population, but we have determined that we have to get into this wash and clear it as soon as possible, and I ask your indulgence and for an aye vote.
Thank you very much. We do have one public comment card. Mr. Walsh, John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This thing is being rushed through. I've never been to Tahunga Wash. I think it's a nice, beautiful place, though. And why are homeless people encamped there? Because your safety net has failed them, starting with the Republican Congress, the Republican House, all the way down to here. We're 14 or 15 of you. Where are Democrats? Where is first? I want to see here. And I'm politically correct up the yazoo, and I'm going to shove it down your throat. Where is the homeless outreach to these people? What you want to do, and ladies and gentlemen, they have a long shot of me. They don't want you to see my face. Nice long shot of me. And I want to tell you, everybody out there who's not white, you damn well know that everybody, 90% of the people in camp there are of color. And when the police come and roust them, it will be late at night the way they rousted my relatives in Hungary when the Nazis. I want to know what's happening at the Tahunga Wash. I want the reporters who sit on their big butts here at City Council and do damn nothing except get on their knees in front of the City Council. I want them to find out, and I want the media to go out there and talk to the people encamped at Tahunga Wash and ask them, how can we help you? And I'm telling you, you know, we have a term, capo Jew. That's a Jew that was in charge of the other Jews in the Nazi camps. And now we have capo Hispanics. And I want to say to Mr. Felipe Fuentes, nunca otra vez. Never again. Where is your ass? Your ass, Mr. Fuentes, should be out there speaking.
All right, that completes your comment. And Mr. Fuentes, for your information, Mr. Walsh is doing this right now for the safeties who, though, you saw what happened in Colorado with the rainstorms. We will get rain again. The Tahunga Wash is not a place to be occupied, especially in the winter months coming. Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. Labange, and wanted to let my colleagues know that we had over 15 service agencies in attendance yesterday. We had over 40 California IDs that were issued, multiple beds were filled, and we're still doing the metrics on understanding exactly what kind of an impact we had yesterday. In my tour of the Tahunga Wash, though, we did notice, by my count, and I walked several miles, spent multiple hours in the wash, so I could see firsthand the impact that it was having on the area as well as the residents above. I witnessed over 5 different 5-gallon jugs of gasoline and 3 generators in my multiple walk. That's in addition to all of the different situations that are going on back there. And so as a result, we wanted to make sure that yesterday we had the ability to offer resources, which we did, and we did a lot of outreach and drove a lot of traffic to the event, but now we've got to get to the health and human safety aspect of it, which is the clearance of the Tahunga Wash. So I thank you, colleagues, and an urgent aye vote.
All right, Mr. Fuentes, thank you for your leadership and foresight on that. We now have no other speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
11 ayes and forthwith immediately on that one. Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Any other business before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
So ordered.
That clears the desk.
Any announcements, members? Any announcements? Mr. Mr. Fuentes.
Bunch, thank you. I just want to echo that today is UCLA Day. My very proud Bruin, Mr. Gil Cedillo, Senator Gil Cedillo, I know he's got activities in his district. We had over 200 UCLA Bruins at Pacoima Junior High School, my alma mater, Pacoima Junior High School, as well as UCLA. So go Bruins.
Very good, very good. Any adjourning motions, members? We have adjourning motions. Sergeants, all rise for adjourning motions. Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I'm joined by Molly Bakhtar, Seal Borman, and Chris Hughes as we commemorate a very sad day for our Lakeview Terrace family. Joyce Williams moved into the San Fernando Valley in 1972, and she was searching for a place where she could bring her family and raise them in the type of lifestyle that we all enjoy in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. And unfortunately, we lost Joyce very recently, just last week, in fact. Joyce lived and worked in her community. She first worked with R.G. Sloan for over 20 years, and then worked at Phoenix House. And many of my colleagues will recognize what a tremendous institution and organization Phoenix House is. That's exactly when I met Joyce Williams. She became very active in the Lakeview Terrace Homeowners Improvement Association. She was very active in the Pacoima Chamber of Commerce. Worked with our city council member reps, and I was a field deputy at the time when I met with her over 10 years ago, almost 15 now. And she was also president of the Lakeview Terrace Improvement Association, served on numerous boards and commissions, was a real steward to the community that she loved, Lakeview Terrace. Her energy and booming laugh will be missed, and we all knew what a great amount of fun that she had, but she also knew how to be tough on all of the local electeds to make sure that we were getting our fair share and that we were being adequately represented. She was preceded in death by her husband of 47 years, Kelly Williams Jr. in 2009. She is now survived by her son, Kevin Williams, daughter, Karen Williams, and daughter-in-law, Bridget Williams. Her grandchildren, Kareem, Carrie, and Courtney Williams, as well as the rest of her family, miss her a great deal, and we were lucky to have her. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, Mr. Parks.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Dorothy Marie Lillick, who was born in January 1925, lived 88 good years, 54 of which she shared with her husband George, who preceded her in death 12 years ago. Dorothy headed up her church guild and enjoyed the role of transitional tutor in the school district, earning the respect of all. She enjoyed knitting, caring for her many plants, and basking in love of her 18 grandchildren, soon to be 19, and her 16 great-grandchildren. Her family appreciated their numerous games and activities she drove them to, and her constant support of their educational goals. In retirement, Dorothy looked forward to walks along the beach with her husband and visits from her extended family. She is a better place now and will be happy to spend the eternity with her loving husband, whom she joined in heaven on September 5th, 2013. She passed away peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by 4 generations of her family. She's survived by her daughter, 5 sons, and a host of family members.
Thank you. Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Coach Ernie Johnson, who lived to be 87 years old. He was a coach at Pico Rivero's El Rancho High, and in the 1960s, it was either Loyola or El Rancho that won the CIF title. And 60, 66, and 68, El Rancho won. He was an inspiration to many young people and lived a full life. Ernie Johnson, coach, El Rancho High School here in Southern California. Also, we sadly adjourn in memory of a 62-year-old Angelino, born in the city of Los Angeles. He went to Centennial High School in Compton, later on to UCLA, where he's a great defensive back. He got drafted by the Chicago Bears. I speak of Allen Ellis. Allen Ellis' life was cut short at 62. Here he's a Coach Johnson, 87, Allen, 62. But he was a great inspiration to many there as a great Bruin. It's today Bruin Day in the community. I adjourn a member of Allen Ellis. He worked for many years with Chicago schools on after-school programs and other things. But he was a pride of Centennial High, and we will adjourn in his memory, Allen Ellis. Thank you. Seeing no other adjourning motions, go ahead and serve the city well, and have a good day. Every day's a blessing.